it just brings me back to that time. When you see a movie from the 80s or 90s or the 70s, John, they're like time machines. They just bring you back. You know what girl you were talking to. You know what car you were driving. Where you were living. It just, and I can't remember anything. But when I not only hear a song, but especially a movie, it just takes you right back. And you're like, wow. And you get all nostalgic and stuff like that. That'd be interesting to talk about. Maybe we'll just talk about that on the show. What do you think?
Talk about our, not just our favorite movies, but what movies maybe had a profound effect on us, for better or for worse.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
We'll do a little countdown.
Do a little countdown,
and we'll
bro.
talk about that because we'll wax nostalgic. Is that what they say?
I gotta stop looking at the damn monitor. There's
Monitor this.
There's
the
the
camera. It looks like that don't look right.
No, it don't look
It
right.
don't look right. I don't like that because I feel like you.
How about if I do
When
this?
you do that on the
me-
monitor, it's like you're looking at me, and I'm like, "What's he looking at?"
Let me be a sidewinder today.
That's weird. I don't know. Just be
All right.
yourself,
Yeah, I know. Okay.
right?
Yep.
Right? We just saw that. I just
Can't,
told you.
can't overthink it, Phil.
Chaz Palminteri and who did I just tell you, John? It was in that podcast. Chaz Palminteri
Oh yeah,
and Joey Diaz,
Joey Diaz.
the comedian,
Yeah.
and they said their careers didn't take off until they were themselves, until they acted like themselves or did jokes like themselves. They were themselves. Let's get into that right
Joey
away.
Diaz. Yeah.
He's a Jersey guy, North Bergen.
He's from North Bergen.
Yeah, yeah. Well, originally from the Bronx. Then they moved. His mother wanted to take him out of New York City. He said, the Bronx, and they moved to North Bergen. And he was surrounded with Italians, so he grew up Italian. He's got a lot of Italian friends. I know somebody who knew him growing up, who's really a great guy, and they said he's really a great guy too, very down to earth, and he's very tight with Joe Rogan.
Oh sure.
Yeah. Very tight with Joe Rogan. So let's do a countdown.
Go ahead.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Without overthinking it, friends, welcome back to another episode of The Jersey Alchemist, and I'm your host, Dr. John Gerard Galucci.
I freaking love that. Woo! That's funny. I get a little Ric Flair there.
And we have your top 100 hits today. No, we don't.
Casey, and I'm Philip. Yeah, and I'm Philip D'Angelo. That reminds me of Casey Kasem. Remember Casey?
Yeah.
Now that guy died shitty. He
got caught on the turntable.
No.
How did he die? What, he died
If
shitty?
I have the story right, and anybody in the comments, Casey Kasem, who was on every Sunday morning, right?
I
Countdown.
just remember his voice. That's
Satellite radio, you could still get the countdown. Only 40 years prior.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend, he had dementia, and his girlfriend had him locked in the house, and the kids couldn't talk to him. Nobody could talk to him. Nobody could see him. Anything.
Oh my God.
Mrs. Kasem did him dirty. That's what they say. So I don't know what happened, but yeah. Did you ever hear outtakes? Outtakes with Casey Kasem?
No.
It is so funny. Any of you people that hear outtakes from like Bill O'Reilly, there's a couple good ones. Howard Stern used to play it all the time. And Casey Kasem, how he talks with like, hey, on this date we're going to sing The Carpenters, Close to You. And then somebody would mess up, and he'd go, what the F are you doing, you son of a bitch? I'm going to have your ass, and you're out of here, you effing moron. Like, really?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow, there was no dementia there.
Oh, yeah.
He knew exactly what he was saying.
Howard Stern would play all those clips all the time. Like, you think Casey Kasem is, this and sweet and innocent?
I'm going to have to look for them now.
Oh,
I bet you they're out there
No,
somewhere.
they're 100%. And there's a good one with Bill O'Reilly. He's so calm, cool, collected, sophisticated.
He's a sinner. I know. I'm not a Bill O'Reilly fan.
Yeah,
Just
and yet there's one of him screaming at everybody.
Really?
Rosie O'Donnell was she one of those
people? She's the one that Trump used to fight. No, they both used to fight with her.
Yeah. Go on there. All right, so we were talking about movies that you watched in the past that when you see them, they just bring you right back to that moment in time. You know the weather. And I have a horrible memory. You know what day it was, summertime, what girl you took to the movies, what car you drove, where you went out to eat, anywhere. I mean, it was crazy. It was unbelievable. Now, back in the 80s, early 90s, I had 3 movies on my playlist, okay? Outside of the classics. So these are kind of like, they were Raging Bull, Robert De Niro.
This is the 90s, so then that would have
Yeah.
been at least 10 years old.
Yeah. So,
Right.
but until the 2000s, when I had family, we used to have the VCR.
Yeah.
I had the VCR of Raging Bull, Pumping Iron. All right, don't you laugh out there, okay? Pumping Iron. Arnold always got me pumped up to like, all right, let's go work out after I eat that cheeseburger. And then, like I told you, Pope of Greenwich Village, Mickey Rourke. I love Pope of Greenwich Village. Any movie that's shot in New York City, for some reason, I'm just attracted to it. I like the whole feeling, the whole vibe.
Yeah.
Any movie almost, it has to be a real suck movie for me not to like a New York City movie. So that was done, and I'm a huge Mickey Rourke fan. Mickey Rourke is my guy. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because not only was he like one of these, let's face it, actors in the most part, John, they're soft. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're dealing with a construction worker. You're not dealing with somebody, they're a little soft. They're a little, they're actors.
They're a little up to the knuckles.
Yeah, yeah. They're one knuckle.
They're a little foofy.
They're one knuckle. No, the saying was they're one knuckle deep. They're one knuckle deep.
Peter, mud on.
Oh, that's where it came from. But Mickey Rourke grew up hard. He grew up in an abusive household.
Yeah.
In Florida, Miami, and he was running the streets. He was getting in a lot of trouble, and he ended up at a boxing gym. And it's the same spot where Muhammad Ali used to train.
Really?
Oh yeah, he used to see all those guys.
Well, where was Rourke from?
Originally, I'm going to say upstate New York.
Okay.
Got divorced from his mother and father. I mean, his
Yeah.
mother and father got divorced.
Okay.
And
all right.
the mother, with her new boyfriend, a
Mhm.
police officer who was extremely abusive.
Oh,
He will not even,
even.
he will not, he said he was a violent man. So he will not even get into it. I've seen every Mickey Rourke interview out there. My favorite is on BET with Travis Smiley and Mickey Rourke.
Travis Smiley's got a great show.
Oh, and I'm going back at least 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the interview where I saw Mickey Rourke say the most, like really open up. So he went into this boxing gym, and he was a fighter, and he came back to New York City after he got the acting bug, and he came here with nothing. Nothing. He used to sell stuff on the street. I mean, just trying to afford to get acting lessons, and I guess acting helped him cover that pain.
Who the hell knows? We talk about fate and destiny on the Jersey Alchemist, but
All the time.
Who the hell knows? Until it happens. And you know what I think? A lot of people, their fate and destiny stalk them, right? Like a leopard, and it pounces and it gets them. And 10 years later, they still fucking don't know that they're in their path of destiny. They don't know it.
Yeah.
They don't know it. It's like, I feel that way about pediatric surgery.
Mm.
I don't know how I got there. I don't know how I did it.
What do you always say, John? Against all odds.
My whole life is against all odds, but I think that's why a lot of people's lives may, if you peel that onion, peel the layers, you'll find out that a lot of things in their life, if you really look back and you peel the layer of the onion, you'll find it was against all odds. That what were the odds that this was going to happen or that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Mike and I talked about, people that you wouldn't think early on that would make it into professional athletics, and we talked about that one guy from Jersey who his entire youth hockey career was a B tier 2 player. I think it was James Van Riemsdyk.
Okay.
Right. Tier 2. That means he's playing against my kids, right? And then all of a sudden he grows a foot. That doesn't really matter. He gets really good. All of a sudden he's Division I. Boom. He's an NHL All-Star. That's against all odds, coming from Tier 2 Jersey. Not from one of the hotbeds, like Minnesota, Canada, Massachusetts. Those are the hotbeds.
It's timing. There's definitely a spirit guide involved with that because there's so many things that have to fall into place. Right. You have to get a coach that likes you, that appreciates that's going to play you. I mean, my kids have had coaches, right?
So, yeah.
That you know, for some reason they didn't mesh with your kid, and even though you know he's better than the, listen, we could really go down a rabbit hole
We're
with this one.
going to. We're going
Oh
to.
boy.
We'll have to come back around to the movies that affected us, but in
Okay.
keeping with that,
Yeah.
let me say this and then you're going to go, okay?
Go ahead.
Why we got onto that topic was because, of course, Mike's a huge Rangers fan. I'm a huge hockey fan. When push comes to shove, if the Devils are playing the Rangers,
Yes.
you know, especially back in the day, you know, I was rooting for the Devils, you know, but now because I haven't really been into it for so long, I wouldn't really care who wins as long as it's a good game. But we started talking about against all odds and who makes it, and it's the unexpected players, and it's that book Outliers, and then it's all of the parents. Ooh, here's a rat hole for all of you. Throw your fellow uh, parents under the bus head first. To throw you under the bus, people. This is for you. How many times have I run into people who, oh, they're friends, let me buy you a drink, you know, we're holed up in some, you know, arena in Massachusetts or in Ontario or Pennsylvania. Hey, Doc, come on over, let me buy you a drink, blah, 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 blah. Or, oh, hi, Dr. Gallucci. Oh, I like your beard. Oh, let's have a soda with each other. Tell me all about how your daughter got into ice hockey. And then before you know it, she's throwing you under the bus face fucking first. I am so sick of those people. So the story is, Mike's son was a goalie, and he was pretty damn good. Very athletic, very, you know, kind of like a Mike Richter type guy, you know. Who's to say that he wouldn't have blossomed late like Van Riemsdyk did, and he wouldn't be the next Mike Richter?
Absolutely.
But let me tell you who made sure that that was never going to happen. The douchebag parent that figured they were going to get under the skin of the director of the local organization, who I won't name because they're still around, and I think he is too. But I saw people in a line like he was God, like he was the king, like he was the land baron, giving him Rolex watches and giving him tickets to the Rangers and to the Devils. So there were two goalies on the team. Mike's son was a cut above the other goalie, a cut above everybody knew it. Half of an allocation of season tickets to the Devils went right in his pocket. Who got cut from the team? Mike's son. There you go. There you go. You political motherfuckers. Ooh.
Yeah. What about letting the kid do it on his own? You know? And what about the coach that accepts those gifts? I mean, that's crazy
Well,
too.
this wasn't the coach. Yeah, that happened all the time. But this guy was the director of the
director,
organization.
rather. Yeah.
That guy. Talk
Yeah.
about all roads lead to Rome and shit rolls downhill. Well, one kind of shit rolls downhill and the other shit works its way up to the top of the organization.
Yeah. I mean, my son, I know, and I coached sports for over a decade, and I coached them all: travel hockey, football, baseball, softball. My daughter, and I loved every second of it. And I never picked an all-star because I realized in the big picture, nobody's really going to the NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL. Nobody's really going. If you're lucky,
Yeah.
and your kid plays in college, that is such a gift. I mean, your daughter played in college and excelled. I mean, was she that good, John, that the coaches couldn't mess with her as she was coming up, or were there times where?
No, she had raw ability, and the director of women's hockey saw her on the ice in one of those open practice sessions.
Yes.
You know, so it was not sanctioned by any particular organization. And after that, I'll never forget this. You know, my daughter is blessed with massively strong legs. Those are the legs I didn't have. And the coach of the AAA team saw her and started peeping into the ear of the director of women's hockey, who went to the Olympics, apparently scored a winning goal in the Olympics against the Canadians, all that crap.
Yeah.
You know, the big bitch, as I'd like to say, because that big bitch, in years to come, turned around and threw us under the bus.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, you know, and and it was all politics. So here's the tier one, the AAA coach, tier one AAA coach comes over to me as if, I don't know, some deity decided to,
Oh,
yes, I'm going to knight you and anoint you.
oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
and I am the coach of the AAA team, and you should kiss my ass.
Bow to me.
Come into my office right now. I have good news for you, my subject. I really, the entire time, I knew better, and I wanted to say from the get-go, hey, go fuck yourself. Who the hell do you think that you're pulling in so that we have to eat your shit? And that's exactly what it was. We were going to be eating his shit, and the shit of the parents that were throw you under the bus people. I'll never forget. There was something called, I think there was regional camp and national camp. These are camps that were, you had to go by invite. It was regional, and then it was like a national camp, and then if you really, you know, played the right notes on the piano and you sucked enough ass with the right people, then you got invited to, I don't know, Colorado Springs or something like that. That's how the system works. And because my daughter didn't want to go to some summer camp somewhere for like a week, I wanted her to go. I was just trying to kind of do the right thing within the confines of this bullshit system. And she's like, Dad, don't you understand? She goes, we played 55 games this year, and how many practices? She goes, I just want to be a kid this summer. And I listened to her, and I was like,
Wow.
okay, this is not, I'm not going to be that crazy ass parent that I'm shoving my dream down my kid's throat. I says, okay, all right. And so we didn't go to this camp. At the beginning of the season, which would have been maybe like September-ish, right? We're on the ice, you know, they're doing their power skating and all that crap. One of the fathers comes up to me, and he's making small talk, and he just nonchalantly looks at me, and over his shoulder he says, so, we didn't see you or your daughter at such and such camp in June. That was it. That was like the scene from Goodfellas where Joe Pesci was led into that empty room.
Sure. But he was gonna
And
get
he
made.
knew right away he was either going to be made or shot in the back of the head. And we know which one it was. That was it. That was it. That's what youth sports is to me. Youth sports been very, very shitty to me.
No, yeah, it'll challenge your morality. I mean,
Oh.
you want to first of all, I mean, a couple of quick stories on my son used to play junior hockey, and he used to go up and down the coast.
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right, North Carolina, Buffalo. I
Yeah.
mean, everywhere. Every weekend we were I loved every second of it.
Right.
All right, and he was okay on those teams. He didn't hurt the team. He definitely brought something to the team. All right, and I could see him because he started hockey late. He was progressing.
Yeah.
And he had the size and the strength. All he needed was the willpower. Yet on his high school team, he was on the fourth line, behind guys on second and third lines
What
that
high school?
I'm not going to mention any high schools.
I just
And-
didn't know where.
Yeah, and who he's on the second and third liners are on there that can't even skate.
There you go.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how do you not like flip a table? Like, you know, I'm sorry we didn't bake brownies. You know,
Yeah.
the kid's
Right.
doing 2 high school practices, doing 2 travel practices. He's making games everywhere. You know, we lived in our car and out of a hockey bag, but that wasn't good enough. You know, for
Right.
the parents committee.
The
You
parents-
know,
Oh Jesus.
yeah.
Oh, what the
Uh-huh.
hell? Oh God, the team manager. That was it. Holy shit. One horrible draconian team manager after the next. Oh my God. Ooh. each one was like a Hillary Clinton in and of herself, because they were almost never the guys. The guys seemed to be too busy to put up with that bullshit. And let's face it, no man is as vicious as a vicious female. Ah, that's what my life has taught me.
Put that in stone, pal. That's write that in stone.
Right.
That's down there. So, how about a Little League baseball story?
Go
So, sixth grade, the baseball all-star team in most towns is
Oh,
already
my
picked
Jesus.
before the season starts.
Oh God, yeah.
So, unfortunately, my son got voted on to the all-star team. Okay, now, he was a good baseball player. I'm
Yeah.
not going to tell you he was a second coming to Babe
Yeah.
Ruth or anything like that. But with the competition, the kids his age, he was a good baseball player. He could
Right.
hold his own. All right, would
Right.
never hurt you. And he got voted on. Okay, this was an uproar. They had to have secret behind door meetings. You want to talk about secret societies? Try and get into a little league baseball committee meeting. Oh yeah,
no,
if
no.
you're not a
Yeah.
part of the crew, you ain't gonna get in there.
Right.
And so they had to have a special situation where they had to have one extra kid now because he got voted on. All right. Well, you would think, okay, a coach would concede. I watched in every tournament. Okay, the third baseman go 0 for, I'll be conservative, 54. The right fielder go 2 for 75. And I'm like, when are you going to give this other kid a chance? You know, you're giving him one at bat a game. He's gotten a couple of hits, makes a diving catch in the outfield.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, give him a shot. I mean, are you that small-minded?
Yes, they are.
So,
That's exactly what.
so I told my ex-wife at the time, okay, here's my wallet, here's my keys. This guy comes over to me, there's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because he's going to give me that shit-eating grin. I don't know what's going to happen. And you feel bad for your kid. But what held me back was, I'm not going to be that parent. Because it's always going to break bad for the parent, right?
Yeah.
You can't lose sight of, you don't want to embarrass your son or your daughter, and you don't want to make a stink. You know, maybe I'll cool down for a day or two. And that's what I did. I cooled down. I talked to the guy.
So he made the All-Star team, and in the All-Star game, he like didn't play.
Oh, the whole tournament he didn't play. I mean, and they moved to a different level.
This is Little League.
Little League. So now my son is pissed off. He's down on sports, down on baseball, America's game.
Yeah.
So now I was done coaching baseball because of
Yeah.
the politics and everything. I said, you know what? Okay. So I coached another 2 years, just so he would have a different experience.
Yep.
You know, than that, because some guy tried to put his thumb on it. You know, on a kid. On a
but
kid.
That's what they're all about.
That's
They're a bunch of
100%.
numbnut fucking assholes that are hurting kids. They're hurting your kids.
Yeah.
Or is it you that's doing the hurting? Can I tell you my story?
I'd love to hear your story.
It's in the first chapter of my book, My Life with God. The name of the chapter is
I
Spiritual
love this
Heart
story. I
and
did
Eyes.
read this. Yes.
And, you know, it's...
So it's not a new thing, John. This has been going on for a while because you're going
Are
to take
you
us back in
kidding
time.
me?
Where's
This
your
is-
time machine taking us? What year?
It was Major League, Little League Baseball for me.
Yeah.
So there were 3 tiers in Little League in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. And nobody called it Pop Warner. That didn't exist in Cedar Grove, New Jersey in Essex County. It was just Little League. There were the minors, and I think you started at like 5 years of age. There was no T-ball. That didn't exist yet, right? So I think minors were 5 to 7. The majors were, I think, 7 to 10. And then the intermediates were like, I think, 11, 12, 13.
Preteen, for the
And
most
then
part.
after that, it
Yeah.
was, and there was no middle school in Cedar Grove. It was K through 12. So after intermediates, I think it was high school baseball. I think, I don't know, because I'll tell you how I achieved my exodus from the sport of baseball. And I really loved baseball. I loved everything about it. And I loved the camaraderie of the kids on the team and all of that jazz. When I was a minor, I was terrified of the speedballers, which there were a few kids that could really throw speedball. But this story in particular, all it took was for one kid, and that was Kevin Woods. Kevin Woods' father was the coach of my coach when I was a minor on the Giants. And he was a real great guy, and he passed. He passed right in the middle of our season when I was on the minors. It was the first wake I ever went to. Oh, yeah, yeah. Now it's a year or two later, and I'm on the majors with Kevin, my coach's son. And Kevin was, I think, a year older than me, maybe 2 years older. So it was that cusp year, but I was the youngest kid on the team. And I was scared out of my mind of going up against the Braves and this guy, Brian, who just had muscles everywhere compared to the rest of us. And he could throw a fastball that, and you knew if it hit you, he wasn't going to hit you in the ass. It was going to hit you in the face. And if it hit you in the face, you were going to the hospital. I mean, that's just the way it was. I was terrified. So the coach gets the lineup, and then the coach backs off. And then I guess Kevin decides he's going to be the player coach. And he's pacing up and down the bench, and he's giving us a Newt Rockney talk about how we can't just hand them this game. You know, yeah, they got a better record than us. Yeah, Brian so-and-so is the pitcher. The hell with him. You know, we're going to just do our best, and we're going to take this game, and we're going to win, and we're going to hit him from the left and hit him from the right.
I like this kid.
All of that crap, right? And then he turns, and I'm the youngest kid on the team, and he goes, "You, Galucci." And I was like, I couldn't even swallow. I go, "What?" He goes, "You." He goes, "You're going to hit a home run today." And I was like, and I remember looking down into the dirt, and my sneaker was kind of brushing the dirt back and forth. You know, I was sitting on a bench. We were all in a lineup. And then he's ranting at me about how you just have to have the confidence in yourself and the potential that you have and this and that, and you haven't even begun to tap into your potential. And I was like, I was thinking to myself, yeah, he's right.
Potential.
He's right. I'm going to do it. So it was a really tight, close game. And I get up for the first time, and this pitcher throws a fastball right down the pipe. Boom! You know, nothing but dust comes out of the catcher's glove. And now I'm like, holy fuck. And so I said, all right. And Kevin's looking at me, and he goes, "Kill it!" He goes, "Kill it! Hit it like you mean it! Send it over the fences!" And I'm like, MFer, he's right. Well, Brian throws another fastball straight over the plate. Crack. I swung like I wanted to kill the world. And I did. And it just went all the way out into the sticker bushes, way over the fence at Blasey Field on the corner of Bradford and...
Which is still there.
Bradford and what's the name of that street?
Grove?
Grove,
Yeah,
right.
still
Yeah, it's still there, right? So I hit a home run. Place goes nuts. I'm like, I can't believe it, right? Now that the game is going on, I get up for a second time. It's a one-run game, and there were a couple of foul balls, a couple of strikes, a couple of this or that, and then crack, boom, over the fence it goes, way into the sticker bushes. Second home run. You know, Woodsy's looking at me like, you know, I've created a monster. You know, all I had to do was play the right notes with this guy. Wow, I got into his head.
Wow.
Now I think we're behind by a run. It's like the last inning. The count is full. Place is going nuts. Parents are screaming like maniacs.
And you're at bat.
And I'm at bat.
What?
I'm at bat, and there's bases loaded.
What?
Bases
You're
loaded.
making this stuff up.
Bases loaded. Oh, my kids know the story by heart, right? They're sick of it. And bases loaded, full count. Not a joke. Bases loaded, full count. We're down by one. It's the end of the game. Crack. Boom.
A grand slam.
3 home runs in one game. Grand slam, third. We win the game. All I remember was I was holding back the tears as I rounded first base, and I looked at Brian, the pitcher for the Braves, and his hands were over his head, and he was just like staring like what just happened. And of course, I was the hero for the day. Make the long story short, I led the league in home runs. I just was that kid. I had a rifle arm from third base. Don't ask me to be second base because I didn't understand the position, and the father coaches didn't have the capacity to teach me how to play second base.
All right.
So I was a great third baseman. I was a great outfielder because I could nail people with my arm from the fence.
Wow.
So here comes, they had to pick the all-star team, And how could they leave the home run leader of the league out of the roster for whatever side I was playing for, right? Okay, fine. So guess what? Here comes the game. It's time for the All-Star game. This meant everything to me. My grandfather came. He was sitting on a lounge chair with a cigar watching the game. My father, who never came to my games, not because he didn't want to, but because he was an athletic director, and on a Saturday, he had to be wherever the hell he had to be with whatever high school he was working with. My father was there, my mother, my grandfather, my brother came to see my game. I had friends, relatives. I had a real crowd. The home run leader never got up at bat, played a half an inning, and every single inning, the coaches' kids were in the entire fucking game.
That's a sin.
And on the way home in the car, you could hear a pin drop. And I
imagine if your father was one of those fathers that wanted to kick somebody's ass as big as he was. Oofa.
Yeah, I have to tell you, my father through the years, I used to say to him, "Hey, Dad, how come you don't coach, the little league, or how come you don't play on the men's league softball team, right?" And he never really answered me until one day I was bugging him so much. He took me on the side. He says, "You have to understand something." He goes, "I played in front of 70,000 people, D1 Georgia Bulldogs, in front of 70,000 people." He goes, the Giants, were ready to draft me. He had a career-ending back injury, fate, destiny. He goes, I just can't, He goes, "This means a lot to the other guys that never got that far." He goes, "To me," he goes, it's not something that I care to do." He goes, "You have to just give me that." And I says, "Oh, okay." He made me understand as a kid.
Yeah.
All right, okay, I guess I understand it now. But on the way home in the car, silence in that car. And we had like 2 or 3 carloads of people just from my family, and I never got up to bat. The fucking home run leader of the league was denied a chance at fucking bat. I feel like I'm supposed to say, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." Never got up at bat. And silence in the car. And I said, "Dad?" He said, "Yeah." And I could tell he was
Furious.
He was furious. But what was he going to do, right? Yeah. Because he wasn't going to. My father never lowered himself to the assholes in town.
Good for him.
And that's one of the reasons why his name isn't on the Cedar Grove pool. He never played their stupid political game. So, yeah, that's one for you Cedar Grovians.
How'd that do for your baseball career, John?
Right. I know I'm dragging the story out, and I apologize.
No. I want to make sure. I want to make sure you tell
so
what happened.
I said, "Dad, yeah." I said, "I am never going to play baseball again, ever, never in my entire life, never." And he didn't move a muscle. He just went, "Yep."
Wow.
Yep. Now.
Wow.
Okay. Now, my father was a track coach. He had state championship wrestling teams, track teams. He was a football coach, this, that, the other thing. And track season was the same season as baseball in high school. And I had a wicked arm. And I was very coordinated. I wasn't as big as I would like to have been. I was the shrimp in the family. But I said, okay, I'll show him. There isn't going to be a team around me or a fucking coach to screw me. So I am going to be the world's best discus thrower. And I didn't have any understanding that I didn't have the body for it. I don't have the big gargantuan gorilla hands for it. Funny, but I had the hands of a surgeon that could operate on a 500-gram preemie. I just didn't see that coming. But the story was that I became an award-winning discus thrower.
Tremendous. Watching you throw was amazing. John, but just think how, and we always say this, people out there, when something bad happens, something hits you, a tragedy or something doesn't go your way and a door gets slammed in your face, you know what? Some spirit,
Yeah.
some higher power
Mhm.
is guiding you
Yeah.
to another, and look what it did. It guided you, no excuse. Now I'm going to be a track guy, a field guy.
Yeah.
And you excelled counties, you won everything. You know, I had a college career, state championship.
the whole deal. And
It was amazing.
I ended up going to the Nationals Division III. Why not Division I? Because the Division I guys were 6'5", 280 pounds, because the discus got bigger. And once the discus gets bigger by a pound, and it grew
It's a big deal.
in radius, then it's a matter of physics. And it would have been implausible. I still made it to the Division III Nationals with a college discus, but I was never going to be able to compete at the Division I level, and I got it out of my system. And I remember the last throw of my career, and I was fighting back the tears because I put my heart, my mind, my body, my soul into being the best discus thrower I could be, because it meant everything to me. It did. It really did. It wasn't just shits and giggles like, oh, we're on the bus, we're going to a relay. Hey, what'd you bring for lunch? And we did all that. We had a good time. But
That was for
anyway.
guys like me. But yeah, that's an amazing story. I mean, John, alchemize this episode.
Yeah. Okay, I will.
'cause,
Let me just do my best. Go ahead. What?
No, go ahead.
I'm going to do my best on this. For the parents that are watching, okay? You might want to bear this in mind for your kids. There are outliers in athletics. Read the book Outliers. And very few kids from Little League or youth sports make it to the pros. There are people who make it to the pros because the pros are out there, but it's statistically just a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. But remember that everything happens for a reason. And I was always that guy. And you can tell if you've been watching The Jersey Alchemist, I am absolutely an edgy guy. There's no question about it. But everything happens for a reason. So if you got your heart set on something, and somebody stands in your way, some stranger, whose kid can't hold your kid's jockstrap, and they screw you, and they throw you under the bus for the benefit of their own kid, or not, they just throw your kid under the bus. Understand, talk to your kid, and put it in their head that they have to alchemize that torpedoing, because it's a torpedoing. It's getting thrown under the bus, it's getting stabbed right in the gut, and then they twist it. And if I look like I'm getting edgy and emotional, you have to get edgy and emotional about your life. If you want to be that marshmallow, let me know where you're at. You need to be slapped around. So let your kids understand. Oh, you feel bad that Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so or Ms. So-and-so didn't play you the whole game, or that you didn't make the golf team, and meanwhile you're a better golfer than everybody on the team. Well, this is what you're going to do. Instead of quitting and putting your tail between your legs, right, you're going to alchemize that situation. And how do you do that? You're going to imagine yourself the very, very best at whatever you choose to do, whether it's a different endeavor, like me going onto the track team and becoming an award-winning, record-breaking discus thrower for my inadequate body habitus, or whether it's the same exact endeavor. Use that psychic energy, use that frustration, use that sorrow, the energy of the sorrow, and what it feels like to get screwed. So unfair. And use that for the energy of your blast furnace, that you're going to take off like a rocket, but you're going to do it in an alchemist way. And you're going to make all of your naysayers, and you're going to make all the people that torpedoed you and threw you under the bus head first, and you're going to make all of those son of a bitches that stabbed you in the back and made you think it was somebody else, you are going to crush them. And you are going to reign supreme, and you are going to climb the ladder and end up in places that they could never have imagined. And at the same time, you're going to use meditation and prayer to get yourself there. Now, we have to exhibit and exercise forgiveness. I do forgive all those people, because the point of this story is, in spite of what they did, everything happens for a reason. They were merely playing their part in that big stage production that we call our lives. And you know something? They played their parts perfectly. But so must you. And that means alchemize the low points of your life so you hit, as Jackie Gleason would say, the high note. Right?
Well said.
And that's it. That's how to alchemize a shitty situation and getting screwed and getting thrown under the bus. Do something with your life where you transcend and you go so high that when you look back at those people, don't hold it against them. Understand that they were your rocket fuel. They loaded up your rocket with solid rocket fuel, and you can't even see them. They're so far behind you.
Amen. I like the way you
brother.
put that. And to you parents out there who are coaches, do the right thing. You know who you are. You're like a teacher, and your point is not to put any kid down. It's to get the most potential you can out of every kid. To you coaches, you know who you are.
There you go.
Thanks for watching The Jersey Alchemist, John. Thank you for a great episode. Wow, well said. Well said. Round of applause for everybody.
Hey,
Uh,
the drinks are on me.
yeah. Till next time, join us on The Jersey Alchemist. If you like what we're doing, people, press like. And like John said the other video, subscribe. It means a lot to us.
It helps us on the YouTube algorithms. Otherwise, it gets,
It's lost in the sauce.
It gets lost. Okay.
Join us next time. Peace.